part is introduction of author. We are going to introduce author's life and the competition between Percy Shelley and Horace Smith. And here it is family tree of Shelley. Shelley is the son of Sir Thomas Shelley and Elizabeth Guildford, and Percy Shelley was the eldest children, and his younger siblings were John Shelley, Mary Shelley, Elizabeth Shelley, Helen Shelley, and Margaret Shelley. Shelley was born at April 1792 at Field Place, Broadbridge Heath, Western Sussex, England. And at the age of 12, Shelley got into Eton College and was bullied by the others, but he decided to defend himself and fight back. At the age of 18, Shelley got into University College, Oxford, and he was dropped out of Oxford because he published The Necessity of Atheism at 25th March 1811. After that, 19-year-old Shelley met 16-year-old Harriet Westbrook and married. Shelley went to Ireland to support political rights and traveled around England after that for a year with political passion. 1814, Shelley abandoned Harriet because he met Mary Godwin and fell in love with her, and even married after Harriet drowned herself. During 1818 to 1819, Shelley completed the most important works, such as Prometheus, Unbound, and Cenci, and etc. After John Keats' death, Shelley wrote a sonnet for the death of John Keats. The death of Shelley is because Shelley wrote the story while sailing back from Leghorn to Latitude in his schooner Don Juan, and his friend George Byron burned his body and took it. Next, we are going to talk about the summary of Ozymandias and the background. We have few questions. The first question is, who is the author? The author is Percy Shelley. And why he wrote this poem? Because he had a competition with his friend Horace Smith. Who and when published it? Publisher is Hunt, and he published it at 1818 January. And who was Ozymandias? Ozymandias was another name for Ramesses the Great, pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of ancient Egypt. Ozymandias represents a translation into Greek of a part of Ramesses' strong name. And here we are going to recite this poem. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless lakes of stone stand in the desert, near land on the sand, have sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and the sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor will lose passion red, which yet survive stamped on these lively things. The hand that mocked them, and the heart that beat, and on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty and despair. Nothing beside remains, round the decay. of the crossover boundaries and bare, long and level stand stretch far away. And here is some point of things. The first is brief nature of political power and the pride and the hubris in all human beings. Art and language are what endure, not power, and the chaotic and often destructive power of history. And man never changes, man improves spiritually and socially over time. And then we are going to compare Shelley's Ozymandias and Smith's Ozymandias and analyzes the structure and the interpreting of these two poems. The first is Shelley's Ozymandias, and we can see the rhyme scheme of the first part of this poem is A, B, A, B, A, C, D, C, and we can see that there's lots of alliteration, and alliteration is the repetition of the same sound or the same kind of sound as the beginning of words or in stressed syllables. And we are going to introduce three kinds of rhetorical foot, which were used in poetry. The first is tortured, is consisting of a straight syllable followed by an unstressed one, like then, in. And the next is and is used in various types of poetry. It is a short syllable followed by a long syllable. And the last is period. Period consists of two unaccented short syllables. And here is the second part of Shelley's Ozymandias, and the rhyme scheme of this part is E, D, E, F, E, F. And here is Smith's Ozymandias, and we can see the rhyme scheme of the first part of poem is A, B, B, A, B, C, B, C. And he had relation to, and then he had touched to, but we can see the new kind of rhetorical foot, which is called a sponded. And a sponded is consisting of two long syllables as determined by syllable weight in classical methods, over two straight syllables as determined by stress in modern methods. And the first part of this poem's rhyme scheme is D, D, E, D, E, E. Here is analysis of interpreting, and we divided those poems into four parts each other. And in the first part, we can see Shelley started to use figures and rhetorical variants in his poem, and he didn't tell the reader antique land is Egypt, but Smith did, which just put too much superfluous information. In the second part, we can see Shelley used half-stoned, shattered big-edge lies, whose front and the wing leaf and the sneer called command. These two lines to describe Ozymandias. And at the end of this part, there's lines to describe the sculptor. Is the hand that mocked them and the heart that faded. We all know the sculptor survived, that's Ozymandias, which means art and language can endure time, that's power. And we also can see there is juxtaposition during these two which yet survive, stepped on these lively things. Juxtaposition is the act or placement of two things, usually abstract concepts, near each other. And the third part of this poem, Shelley used King of Kings, which stayed by the tucketed narrator first, and we can still Smith keep using wonder, which makes the impression weaker. And in the last part of this poem, Shelley gave the reader a state of mind what survives, and he used lots of active words like boundless, long, less than, and stretch far away, which make different from the other, but Smith used too much concrete words like unrested, which make no difference from the other.